go. So 2023 hunting season's just about to start. Got next client, or the first client for the year, is next week. So I just thought I'd rattle off a bit of new gear that I've got and a bit of gear that I've replaced out of my kit. So I've got it all laid out here. Now some of the stuff got replaced because I found a better product or a lighter product. As you know, I like being extra light or ultra light with backpacking and any of my gear. So if I do find something that is the same quality or at least the same durability but lighter, I tend to go and get it. But a couple of things this year that I've changed out from last year, actually heavier, so stay tuned to find out what that is. But anyway, some of the really cool kit I got is this new Sitka Gear Dew Point rain gear. It's really lightweight, Gore-Tex. I had a client last year have it on a really wet weekend and he stayed dry and I didn't, and I vowed that the guide should not be wet and the client nice and dry, so it should be the other way around. So I lashed out and I got myself a set. And now I did get it in the Optifade camo, not the sub alpine, just to sort of basically show the viewers what the different camo pattern will look like in our bush. I actually prefer the alpine, but this looks pretty cool too. And being rain gear, it's not like I'm going to have it on all the time, but I really don't think camo patterns really matter that much anyway. And the other thing that I've not so much replaced, but my lower Tibets are practically retired to second spot since I've got these new High Country Evo GTXs. Haven't done a lot in these yet, about 20 Ks in the bush. Did a trip up Jindabyne with Emmett the other weekend, but man, these are super comfy and they've got basically all the same features that you would want from the Tibet. They're already in this boot, same sole, same lace system, Gore-Tex lined, but there's just a few little different design differences that I really like about these boots. So can't wait to really test them out in the Samba Hills backpacking, but these are my new #1 boot already. So nothing wrong with Tibets, and I'm sure if anyone's got a set, you'll understand how good these are. I think they're just a little bit higher on the comfort level more than anything, but time will tell if they last as long. Another thing I've changed out, same brand, so it's a Fiskars pruning saw for skull capping, taking the ribs out. I've gone to this design, so it's got a little wheel here, and I just think it's a little bit safer than, and sometimes I have to search around and look for this little plastic thing that you got to put on, and you got to slide it on like that. And anyway, this is sort of slightly smaller too. It gets all the way in the pack. It's got a little clip on it, which is kind of cool. So that's, yeah, change that out. Another item that is just the same again is my walking poles. Now I like to always have a spare set on me because I do tend to break them fairly regular when I'm up the bush all the time. But I haven't found another design that I like as much to change to see if they're any more durable. But this system with the folding up like that and nice and small, I just can't find another one that's better than that. I know some of them push up a bit, but they're still long. So these are Black Diamond Alpine FLZs, 120 to 140, so the big long ones. I always take the little snow boot off. That just gets caught in scrub. Yeah, so I think this is about the fourth pair I've had over about 3 years, but I've still got a set left over from last year. They are aluminium. I don't like the idea of carbon, although it is lighter. I do tend to bend these fairly regular, and I think one of these has been bent, like seriously bent, and I just straightened it in between a couple of trees, and can't remember which one it is. That one's got a little bit of a bend, but anyway, you can reshape an aluminium one, whereas a carbon one's just going to snap or fracture on you. So tend to stay away from the carbon with walking poles, and I do give these fair flogging. So because I've broken a few doesn't mean that they're not a good product. It just means I'm probably just a bit too hard on them, and I can't live without them now that I've been using them. What else have we got here? I love my dry bags. See some at dry bags. I brought a 13 litre one just because the this one here, I think it's an 8 litre, which that used to, what it does, it fits my sleeping bag and my spare socks and jocks and beanie, but it was always just right on the edge of only getting a couple of folds on it. So I just went up a size. It's hardly any extra weight. So it's a 13 litre, so it all just fits a little bit easier now. But yeah, I usually run my food in this one, which is a 5 litre, and then I'll be running I always put my sleeping bag and your spare clothes in a dry bag, because you don't want to get wet. Although my backpack is waterproof, you just, maybe your water bladder could burst or something like that. So anyway, new dry bag for this year. Knives. Now I've replaced this Zvord and steel, which, when I brought this knife, I had a Skinner and I loved it. So I brought the drop point, but just didn't like the shape, so I ended up grinding. You can see how much metal I've taken off, just to give it a bit more of an edge, a point. And it's great steel. They're great knives, but I just don't like the shape. So I've replaced that knife and that steel with a Zoe zipper and a work sharp from R&M Blades. This little knife, the more I use it, the more I like it. Didn't particularly like the shape of it sort of when I first started using it, but I sort of got used to it now, and I would prefer it if it was just a touch bigger. And I think he does have one, I think it's called the Southwest or Southwind or something like that. Go to his website and you'll see him. Just a little bit longer blade I think would be awesome, but for most of the hunting that I'm doing is backpacking, so light is best. And as you can see, I'm replacing a full-size knife with that. So I am saving a bit of weight, and despite the fact the blade's just a little bit short compared to what I would really like, it still does the job really well. And the other thing that I've basically replaced is my scalpel blade knife, which I've always run because it's lightweight, it's super sharp, you don't have to sharpen it. You just throw the blades away or shove them in the ground somewhere. I've replaced it with the work sharp and a helium from R&M Blades. I really like this compared to the replaceable blades because it's much safer. I don't know if you've ever had much to do with these things, but every now and again the sort of blade pops out a bit, and when you're trying to change blades like that, they've definitely made them safer with this push button system, but I'm always a little bit nervous around them. And folding knives too, I'm not a big fan of. Fixed blade, and this is tiny, lightweight, but by God, it does the job. Incredibly sharp edge, quite easy to get back sharp if you sort of do ding it up a bit with this work sharp sharpening system. It's got the coarse and the fine stones on one side and the other, and then a ceramic steel, and then a leather strop here, and you really can just get it shaving sharp. So saved a little bit of room, probably more than anything. Probably compared that, definitely saves weight, but I only take that sort of stuff when I'm meat hunting near coming back to the vehicle, because I'm happy to carry that extra weight. But now I've dropped down to that, I've probably saved a little bit of weight. And to tell you the truth, that's heavier. That's 2 packs of blades there, but so there's 20 blades or 10 in a pack. It feels similar. So my weight penalty is the sharpening system, maybe a couple 100 grams, but safer. And I think if you can resharpen a blade, it's better than having to pop new blades in and dispose of them. So that's another thing. And now this is a cool little product that I found by mistake on Instagram. Just popped up in one of my the little ads there, and I followed around and found these on eBay. They're definitely from China. I think there's probably some brands out there that they've obviously copied. It doesn't even have a brand name. It cost me like 14 bucks from China, and what it is, it's a gas adapter. And if you do a fair bit of hiking, you know that you get down to the last little dregs of your canister, and then you get home, you put it in your cupboard, and you end up with a bunch of these canisters that have still got just a little bit in there. Well, this little guy here is an adapter that you can screw onto this, say your nearly empty bottle, like just got a little bit in it, and then you've got another empty one over here, and you screw them together. And the one that you want, it'll drain to the bottom one, gravity will feed it. And the idea is, I've seen a few things on YouTube where you can just put this bottom one in a bowl of warm water, and that just helps the transfer, because the way the gas is, it gets cold and warm. Anyway, but what you've got to do is you just got to pay attention to the weight. So what you need to know is the full weight of a new canister, so that you don't overfill this bottom one, and just got to keep checking it, make sure you don't go past full. So that's pretty simple to do. But yeah, what a great little product to be able to get the last little remaining bits out of all those little canisters that you've just probably got stored in your cupboard there somewhere. Yeah, so wouldn't take long to get your $14 back, I don't reckon. Righto, what else have we got here? Alright, so I don't usually go heavier, but as you can see, I'm going heavier and bulkier. This is my Cedar Summit insulated ultralight mattress. I think it's got a thermal rating of 3.1 R, whatever the R means, don't know, but that's the scale. 3.1, 50mm thick. This is the Cedar Summit Aphia Extreme insulated, and it's quite a fair bit heavier, a ton bulkier. It is 100mm thick, and it has a thermal rating of like 6.7, so it's double thermal rating compared to that. Why have I done that? Because I've been spending so much time up the bush laying on a mattress that I wanted to get the comfort. When I was just hunting for myself, I might only go backpacking every 3 weeks or 4 weeks if I'm lucky. Couple of nights out on this thing didn't bother me, but when I was up the bush every week, I wanted to upgrade my mattress, so I bought this. I haven't actually used it yet, but that's what I'll be using this year on my guided backpack hunts. But I didn't go heavier overall. So if you can see in the background, I've got my old Nemo sleeping bag, and it's about 1 kilo. So it's a long size. You can get them shorter if you're in regular, but I've replaced it with a Cedar Summit Spark 3. Same thermal ratings. I think they're about -7 on the extreme. I think about -2 on comfort level. But 1 kilo, 740 grams. So I've saved 250 grams, which I spent here. The only thing that I lost was I've lost room in my backpack. Clearly that's a lot bigger, probably twice as big, if not more. So that sleep system, the Nemo and the ultralight, weighs the same as those two. This is just a bit bulkier, so I'm just gonna have to shuffle a few things around in my backpack, but that's what I've done. Super lightweight, haven't tried this yet either, but I do know some people that have got them, and I think they're a pretty good thing. Obviously when you go ultralight like that, you're not going to get that thermal rating that you would get with a heavier one. So I do still run my Survive Outdoors longer bivy bag, and that's the Pro version, so it's waterproof, windproof. supposed to add 5 degrees to your sleeping system. So we're talking -2 on a comfort level. I should be able to go down to -7, which will cover most of my hunting, the areas that I hunt. If it's really cold, last year I worked out if I keep my feet warm, I stay warm. So I usually wear 2 pairs of socks and I put a hand warmer in there as well. No, it says not to do it on the pack, but I don't know, I've been doing it, so it hasn't done anything to me. I don't put it on my skin, I put it in between the 2 pairs of socks. Do that with some thermals or just wearing your hunting gear and you stay plenty warm. Now, everyone asks me about my Bino harness, and I can't rave on any more about the marsupial gear Bino harness. I've had this for years now. I've got the rangefinder pocket on the side to run my little rangefinder. That's from them as well. Great harness, fits on your body well. The magnets hold the top closed really well, and they hold it open as well. They hold the binoculars really tight against your chest. There's no flopping around. Now this is the old model. The new model does have like a fill in here, so you see this gap here, that's all filled in, so it probably would stop a little bit of twigs and leaves and stuff that do tend to get in there, but I haven't found a reason to upgrade to that model yet, and I haven't seen another style of Bino harness worth getting to be better than this one. If you've got expensive binoculars, get a really good Bino pouch and protect them. It'll do its job really well. But that's about it. Sorry, totally forgot to talk about the Hyperlight backpack. It's in its 3rd year now. Love this backpack, super lightweight, 980 grams or something empty. It's got a water bladder, a pocket, it's waterproof. This is the Southwest, I think it's 45, so it's 55, Southwest 55 I think this one is. So it's like 40 litres in the main bag, which is built like a dry bag, and then you've got like a pocket here that adds up to, and the side pockets that gets it up to 55. So realistically it's a 40 litre backpack with a couple of pockets that aren't waterproof, but I can carry my tripods and all sorts of things in here, that walking poles and that, when they're all folded up, will fit nicely in here. Now I know a lot of people go, it's not much of a harness, but if you're not carrying big heavy weights, this thing is as comfy as a backpack I've ever had. It really does feel like a little monkey holding onto your back. It's so close to your body. It doesn't hang out, doesn't come above your shoulders. It hugs you. Anything up to about 20 kilos. And I've had heavier in it. It starts to lose its gloss once it gets up into that heavy stuff. But I usually run in on about a 12-13 kilo backpack for 3 days going in, and I'm either heavier on the way out with a deer, or I'm lighter because I've eaten my food. But I haven't found another pack that tickles my fancy to say I need that, and I am a bit of a pack whore. I've got 4 of them sitting over there, constantly changing them, but this one's been running for 3 years and I haven't found anything close to what I would think would be a better version. For longer backpacks, 7 to 10 days, you're going to need more room in this one. They do build a bigger one, I think it's a 70 litre. So maybe I'll go to that, or maybe I will go into one of those more typical hunting backpacks, because this is a through hiker's backpack, designed, made in the USA. Pretty cool product. And looking at the wear after 3 years, I have got a hole in this side pocket here. I've got a feeling that I did that with a walking pole, or I was running the my saw in there as well, so I could have grabbed on it, but apart from that, like, we're starting to get a little bit of wear down on the bottom where, you know, when you're packing in, you just kick back on some rocks, but you expect that. But overall, it's a quality bit of gear, and I absolutely love it. Just the weight of it just does it for me all the time. And it doesn't have all the features of these big flash companies that are promoting for hunting backpacks, but it's got what you need, and nothing else. There's no added bits and pieces and straps that you don't need. If anything, you could probably have a few more straps, but I hate looking at those backpacks with all those straps and nothing's getting used. So yeah, I'll be sticking with this for the time being anyway. That's all the gear that I've sort of swapped out or I've got recently, so I hope that sort of helps a few people with this year, and we'll see how we go with the business, and hopefully it all goes well for the clients.